Just like Kroger is not the same size as Walmart, Walmart today is not the same size as Walmart 5 years ago, right? So let's go ahead and do that on the balance sheet. So let me copy these. For each of these, I'm going to take the item and divide it by total assets. I want to make sure that I'm going to fix the column, actually the row. So it's $13. So when I copy, the reference to column shifts, but the row doesn't. Come on. Okay. You're thinking why it says value? Because that blank is not actually blank. There is a space there. Okay. Now, if you look at it, Walmart carried about 3.5% of its total assets in cash or cash equivalents, and about 3.25% in receivables. That seems to be relatively stable. Same thing about inventories. Inventories are about a quarter or 23% of total assets, so on and so forth.
So what did you put in E3 to get that?
Which one?
That one, yeah. What was the command?
It's not a command, it's just formula.
Yeah.
Equals the item divided by the total assets, but I make sure that I fix the row so that when I copy the formula, it still refers to total assets. Then I just copied that one to the next. Let's do the same thing for Kroger. Unfortunately, these things are not standardized. So total assets may not be in the same row. You have to do it separately. Cash and temporary cash investments divided by total assets, F4. That fixes the row. I mean, I'm more interested in, for example, total current assets. For Walmart, a quarter of their assets are essentially liquid assets. Kroger. Let's see what it was for Walmart. It's about 30%. So Walmart's balance sheet seems to be a little bit more liquid, but that kind of is also an issue because total assets are based on book value. Maybe Kroger's book value is too high, that we don't know. I am more interested in what's going on in income statement. Let's see. Let me copy these. Of course, I'm not going to do anything with the net sales. I mean, I could, but let's start from here. Cost of sales divided by total revenues. 1, 2. Okay. Let me make this a little bit. Now let's look at this. As of January 2023, Walmart essentially spent 3/4 of its sales on costs of obtaining those products. And it's not here, but we could have entered an item. That means for every $100 of sales they make, they get to keep $25 before they spend money on anything else. They spent money on about $21 on other operating costs. So you can think of that as their overhead. So their overhead is about 21% of their sales. And on an operating level, they keep roughly, depending upon the years, 3 to 4%. That number sometimes is also known as the operating margin. Okay? When you're analyzing a firm or valuing a firm, that's an important number. If that number is going up, I'm willing to pay more money for the shares of that stock. If it's going down, then they either lost pricing power or they lost the control of their cost structure, or both. Same idea here. Again, the final one, this is also known as the profit margin. This is consolidated net income attributed to Walmart shareholders. Because of consolidation, sometimes there is minority interest. That's why we want to look at those numbers. And apparently, the profit margin of Walmart has been going down the last 2 years. Remember, the first year is 23, 22, 21. Why do you think that that's happening, or that happened? What's the difference between 2021 and 2023 as far as Walmart?
That was still in full swing. 2021.
Exactly. So retail companies made a lot of money. You would see similar stuff on Amazon as well. So this is not necessarily based on just these 3 years a bad sign. If I had numbers for 2019, which we could obtain, I just chose not to, then we could have looked at the trends.
So you think that's 2020 based more than 2019 or 2018 for Walmart?
I don't know. We could look, but
guess.
they're probably doing a little bit better.
Okay.
But by the way, in Excel, if you want to do quick and dirty pattern on a row, next to that row, just hit insert. It's called a line. Data range is this. It just does a little chart. I mean, I have only 3 of them, so it doesn't make sense. But I could have had 20 columns, right? And it would have given me a nice little chart. Nice thing about these things is they can be copied like formulas. So I could take this and drag them up.